All right, as most of you guys already know, Pluto is about to enter Aquarius. It will enter Aquarius tomorrow, March 23rd. So here's my take on Pluto and Aquarius demonetization, emphasis on demon or demon. All right, so Pluto in Aquarius. So Pluto enters Aquarius on March 23rd. And then it will re-enter Capricorn after it turns retrograde on June 11th. And then it will re-enter Aquarius on 2024. And then it will leave Aquarius in 2044 finally. So we got 20 years of radical change. So with Pluto in Aquarius, astrology becomes even more prominent in the mainstream, but its long-standing principles are likely to be corrupted in favor of social justice. So this is one of the fears that I have about astrology becoming more widely accepted, is that more than likely they're going to water it down, or they're going to try to change some of its long-standing principles that have always held to be true simply because of political correctness or social justice, what have you. So already I'm seeing a lot of misinformation being touted on social media platforms like Twitter. It's mainly coming from Twitter, as I've seen, because one of my students will keep me abreast of all the ridiculousness that is being spouted on Twitter astrologically. Not saying that all the information you'll find on Twitter is inaccurate or misinformation, but it's just a lot out there, a lot of misconceptions, all that. So I feel like part of my purpose is to maintain the purity of astrology, the astrological principles, which are the foundation of astrology. But astrologers can look to basically really seriously come up while Pluto is in Aquarius, especially if you already have skin in the game. But for those new astrologers, this would be the great time to launch your business. Now, Pluto in Aquarius is about the power of information technology, but also controlled through information technology. So basically, we're already under tight controls when we use the internet. There's all this tracking being that is taking place specifically on TikTok. So if you haven't did any research into TikTok and how far reaching the powers of TikTok is in terms of being able to access your information, definitely want to look into that if you have a TikTok account. But it's only going to get worse because Pluto and Aquarius is just going to embolden these social media platforms and these tech firms. So Pluto in Aquarius, you might as well say, marks our official entry into the age of Aquarius. Now, when the age of Aquarius begins is up for debate. There's no set date that has been set in place. So basically with Pluto in Aquarius, it's going to be undeniable at that point. Saturn in Aquarius basically made it undeniable too, but and also Uranus and Taurus, but this Pluto in Aquarius is going to bring it all the way out into the open. Also, absolute power. So the people that run the world, I like to call them the evils that be, or the powers that shouldn't be. They're going to be able to gain absolute power over the masses through technology. Aquarius rules technology and Pluto is power. And Aquarius also rules absolute. Also, a lot of people are going to experience forced awakenings where things are like right in your face, where you can't deny it anymore. And you might even have some full disclosures of what some of these governments have been, working on, or what they've been cooking up. They might start coming out and just stating things plain, like, yes, we are spraying the sky. We do control the weather. I Spy. So I'm going to take y'all through some slides just to talk about some of the potential manifestations of Pluto and Aquarius. So expect to have even less online privacy. That should be obvious. But yeah, expect to have even less because, again, these tech companies are going to gain absolute power over us. Also, it'll be easier to get canceled, blocked, and barred online for saying something that goes against the social norm or it goes against popular opinion. Social media guidelines and restrictions become even more oppressive. You might even get fined for saying certain things. You know, now if you have a YouTube platform and you say the wrong thing, you'll get demonetized. Demonetized, emphasis on demon or demon. But anyway, it could come to a point where instead of being demonetized, or in addition to being demonetized, now you're being fined for saying certain things on social media platforms. Don't be surprised if they start to implement that. What about your friends? So Pluto and Aquarius can produce some problems with friends. Betrayal through friendships, that's a possible manifestation of Pluto and Aquarius. Now, those who are born when Pluto is in Aquarius, they really have to be careful of their friends, but they won't have to worry about that for, several years. But even with us that don't have Pluto in Aquarius, but, with Pluto being in Aquarius, and especially if it's in one of the houses that could deal with, friendships, 11th house, third house, then yeah, you want to be a little careful about choosing your friends. And also, it could even be an existing friend that turns on you. Nihilism versus enlightenment. So those are your two choices in terms of philosophical viewpoints. Nihilism, enlightenment. Pluto in Aquarius can produce both. Now, in terms of enlightenment, the Namaste way, more people will feel forced to become enlightened, just as I said with the forced enlightenment, because things will be more blatant, out in your face. Aquarius does so with the shocking truth and revelations. But there could also be false enlightenment as well. So you might have a lot of people that are claiming to be enlightened beings, but they're fraudulent. Nihilism. I know nothing, therefore I am nothing. So nihilism is a person who believes that a nihilist is a person who believes that all values are baseless and that nothing can be known or communicated. It is often associated with extreme pessimism and a radical skepticism that condemns existence. So more people will subscribe to the nihilistic approach to life. These are people that are not awakened. These are basically the masses, the sheeple, people that refuse to see what's really going on. And that's what the evils that be are trying to push, this type of mindset, nihilism. The definition of nihilism is a viewpoint that traditional values and beliefs are unfounded and that existence is senseless and useless. So it is a rejection of any moral code where an existentialist would create their own because morals simply do not exist. It is also a rejection of truth. So basically, they want you to believe that you are worthless and life is pointless. So again, there's going to be a lot of people that become more nihilistic and apathetic. And I was just watching this video about the state of Santa Monica, California, and how it's going like downhill tremendously. And they're just letting people do drugs on the street, take a dump on the street, just be like, they're not controlling the homeless population, the drug addicted population. They're just running the city into the ground. They basically pointing to the local government officials. But this is what they want. And then the guy in the video, he's a resident of Santa Monica, California. He was just talking about how people are apathetic. Like this one guy, he came into a Starbucks, crapped on himself. Nobody batted an eye. But they want more people to become nihilistic and apathetic. Now, we currently are under the system of capitalism, but they are pushing us towards socialism. And one of the ways they're going to institute socialism is through entitlements. universal basic income, for instance. Now, this may not be rolled out all at once, but trust and believe they're going to start promoting this more intensely. They've already been promoting it for the last several years, but you'll start to see these programs being rolled out. And keep in mind with Pluto and Aquarius, everything's not going to happen at once. It's going to be a gradual development that takes place with Pluto and Aquarius themes. So the problem with an entitlement culture is that you are often trading your liberty for entitlements. Collectivism, which is Aquarius, is promoted. Entitlements such as universal basic income will become more promoted, more prevalent. But keep in mind with this universal basic income, this is the problem with socialism and communism, there's no such thing as a free lunch. So you have people that are proponents of socialism and communism because they think, oh, I'm going to get free healthcare, I'm going to get help with housing, free education, all that. Well, there's no such thing as a free lunch. What that means is everything comes at a cost. And a lot of times with socialistic and communistic systems, your liberty is the cost, as well as even quality of life. See, a lot of people, they look at socialism in particular. A lot of people look at communism as kind of like, oh, they automatically know, oh, yeah, that's a bad thing. But what they don't realize, these proponents of socialism, is that socialism and communism are basically the same thing. Communism is just more extreme. But these socialists, they just don't understand that they're going to have to sacrifice. But some people don't want much liberty, as I'm, realizing the older I get, the more I'm seeing a lot of people don't want a lot of liberty. A lot of people want to be led. So if you're a proponent of socialism, prepare to be led through the nose. And Aquarius is about liberation, but the other side of Aquarius is tyranny. And socialism and communism are tyrannical systems. So here's Charles Schwab, or what's his name? Klaus Schwab. And he promotes this great reset. And also Agenda 2030 is another agenda that they've had for years. And we are fast approaching the year 2030. And the motto of the Great Reset is you will own nothing and be happy. That's the essence of socialism and communism. So empowerment of dictators and tyrants, this is going to take place with Pluto and Aquarius. Remember I said absolute power. And Aquarius is the dictator, the tyrant. Implementation of socialistic and communistic policies. Drastic changes in tax codes and laws. And of course, that can come with the digital currency that they're going to implement. So communism is basically a political and economic ideology that positions itself in opposition to liberal democracy and capitalism, advocating instead for a classless system in which the means of production are owned communally and private property is non-existent and severely curtailed. And basically it just means the government owns and controls everything. And then socialism is not much different. Socialism, a populist economic and political system based on collective, common, or public ownership of the means of production. You ever hear that term, the shared economy? That's them pushing you towards this socialistic approach to life. So one of the positive things you're going to see with Pluto and Aquarius is you're going to see more people performing superhuman feats, things that defy logic, that blows your mind. So the emergence of the superhuman, Neptune and Aries is going to bring forth that as well. But yeah, you'll start to see it with Pluto and Aquarius, people performing superhuman feats. Beast system. So this is a symbol of technocracy right here. And it looks very sinister. Technocracy becomes more apparent. Technocracy basically meaning that these tech companies have a lot of power and are able to control the masses. And they're the ones that are influencing the laws and all that good stuff, influencing who becomes leaders of these nations. And again, Aquarius rules technology. The erosion of absolute truths. Now, Aquarius is a very relativistic sign, and it's very much about, even though it can deal with truth and radical truth, it can also leave things too much up to interpretation, and it can also cause someone to take a scientific approach where they're saying, well, there's really no truths, and everything is just up for, discussion and interpretation and all that stuff. And atheism. Aquarius rules atheism. So expect atheism to become more prevalent. These people that run the world, they don't want us to believe in a creator. They want us to believe in the Big Bang and that everything just happened randomly. Everything just fell into place and there's no divine force. Fuck you, pay me. So again, remember I was talking about the demonetization, but they might start finding people for speaking out, speaking the truth, speaking unpopular opinions. So internet platforms also will become even more pay-per-view and subscription-based. So you know how there's some people that pay for YouTube Premium, and then a lot of y'all get to watch it for free, but there's always a cost. Remember, no such thing as free lunch. The cost is you're subjected to all these ads when you don't pay for YouTube Premium. I got YouTube Premium because I can't stand being subjected to these ads. So I'm used to paying a fee to be on YouTube and to have the convenience is Aquarius, to have the convenience of not being bombarded with all these ads. But don't be surprised if everybody is going to have a subscription, a paid subscription in order to use YouTube. Same might happen with Instagram, Facebook, so forth. You think you could continue to be on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook for free? More than likely, they're going to start charging people just to use those platforms. This ugly piece of shit. Being forced to drive energy-saving vehicles, that's another potential manifestation of Pluto and Aquarius. And of course, the energy-saving vehicles, they are going to be very compact, electric. Aquarius rules electricity. Advanced technology over safety and beauty. That's the essence of Aquarius versus Taurus. So Aquarius is advanced technology. It's, dealing with computers, all that type of stuff. Intellectual information, or what do they call it? Intellectual property. And Taurus is about design and beauty and also safety. So this little car right here, I'm not going to feel safe driving because if I get in an accident, that's probably going to cost me my life. But do you see how technology is advanced technology that is trumping beauty with these ugly ass cars? And have you ever seen those Waymo cars and it has all this stuff on top of it? Those autonomous cars, self-driving cars, they're ugly as hell. So we're going to have to sacrifice beauty for advanced technology. And Taurus squares Aquarius. So there it is. Plug it in, plug it in. Electric cars become mandatory in many countries. Gas-powered vehicles are phased out in favor of electric vehicles. A lot of this is happening already where they're pushing for it, but expected to become mandatory at some point, and where gas-powered vehicles are phased out completely. Who's gonna drive you home tonight? That was a song by the Cars in the 80s. But yeah, the autonomous self-driving cars will become ubiquitous. I'm not into this self-driving car thing. I like to be in control when I'm behind the wheel. You never know. And it's like, if they think about like, what's that movie? Demolition Man, but also Minority Report, where it's about thought crime. So imagine this, the computer in your car is programmed to drive you to a police station if you're even guilty of thought crime. How about that? That's giving too much power in these techies' hands where they could control your car and maybe even control where it goes. Advanced technologies over aesthetics. Again, look at this ugly shit. And this is what cracks me up about these techies. And like, we're living in 2023, but you still have these crude mechanisms like on this self-driving car. This shit is ugly. That's why I'm like, maybe as a Sagittarius, my expectations are too high in terms of technology. But I'm like, this is the best that y'all could come up with. It's the same with the Oculus headset for the virtual reality. That big old bulky thing. I'm like, that's the best y'all could come up with. Or maybe that's what they're releasing to the public, this crude mechanism, but they really got more high tech stuff. It goes right through you. 5G towers. Now, radiation can become a serious threat, and it could be due to emerging technologies like 5G. Pretty sure they'll be rolling out 6 and 7G, and maybe go all the way up to 10G with Pluto being in Aquarius. And all this stuff runs right through you. These frequencies, these waves. So they got to have some type of effect on us. The cancer rate could continue to rise as a result of being bombarded with all these rays. Grease lightning, intense electrical storms. Aquarius rules electricity. Frightening lightning due to geoengineering. So, I mean, they basically are controlling the weather. And I've noticed over the years, the lightning has gotten worse. It's gotten more intense. Sometimes it's downright scary. Full disclosure of geoengineering. So I wouldn't be surprised if they started to really just come out and say, yeah, we've been spraying the sky for years, but it's to combat climate change. And we're going to continue. We're going to ramp up the program. So don't be surprised if you don't see sunlight for the next 7 days, things like that. So again, they could come right out in the open with this. But the masses, again, because of how they disclose it, will believe that this is the dire solution, that this is the right solution to take. So there's a document it's a CIA document or maybe by NASA, I can't remember, but I used to have the PDF on my laptop, and it was called Owning the Weather by 2025. So try to find that document, like Google it, and you'll see what I mean. I might still have that PDF in my files, but yeah, they were talking about how they were going to own the weather officially by 2025. And basically their whole purpose is to defy God or whatever divine force you believe in, and to overthrow this godly force. You know, Aquarius is the sign of rebellion. It's also the sign of Lucifer. So it's like Lucifer is winning with this Pluto in Aquarius. I got the power. Power grid failures. It's going to be highly likely, where it's going to be ongoing and where we're going to really get used to these power grid failures. So might as well start stocking up on candles, lanterns, generators, because it could get crazy at times. Prolonged outages that could last for weeks or even a month at a time. And think about it, the more people that convert over to electric cars, this is why I don't understand what they think. Well, this is, I understand, because it's always problem, reaction, solution with these people, the Hegelian dialectic. But prolonged outages is going to result in the rationing of electricity. Electric utility costs increase as well. They might be like, oh, you use this number of kilowatts this month, we're going to cut your electricity off. Or you can't drive your electric car because you use too many kilowatt hours. Nuclear reactions. Nuclear power plant failures. Aquarius is ruling nuclear power plants. Attacks. So there could be attacks on nuclear power plants. Mommy, why does everybody have a bomb? Like Prince said in his 1999 song. So there could be global nuclear explosions taking place, nuclear war, bombs over Baghdad and all that stuff. Immortal technique. Advances in science and technology could extend life for those who can afford it. Ready for takeoff. Air travel. So Aquarius rules aircraft, planes, jets, helicopters, and even UFOs. Air travel becomes more hectic. Expect crises in air, freakouts on planes, more freakout. I don't know if some of y'all know, but a lot of people have been freaking out on planes in the past few years. It's just going to get worse. And then that can cause these airlines to tighten their controls. Hijackings are going to be possible. Increase in plane crashes due to pilots dying suddenly. And some of this has already happened with pilots just passing out or whatever. I don't think any plane crash has happened as a result, though, but I have heard of pilots, having heart problems and stuff. But also engine and radar failure and other mishaps. Aquarius rules radar. So like Pluto and Aquarius can be like scrambling radar systems. Also, heavier restrictions being placed on air travel. And again, they can blame the freakouts that people are having in air. Air travel could be banned in some places or more subject to controls because they really want to just keep us cordoned in these cities. They really don't want us traveling the world anymore. Further consolidation of airlines. And I'm sorry if a lot of this sounds negative, but it is. Chopper style. Seeing military helicopters in the sky could become more commonplace. Military or even paramilitary units taking over policing of crime-ridden cities. So if you've been wondering why it seems like these city governments are allowing crime to get out of control, again, it's about problem, reaction, solution. They create the problem, the public has a reaction, and they provide the solution. It's all pre-orchestrated. So they want crime to get out of control so that they can institute draconian measures or implement draconian measures. Alienation. So Pluto in Aquarius intensifies the possibility of UFO sightings and contact with alien races. Now, this could be real or contrived. I'm thinking it's going to be contrived, where they're going to fake an alien visit or an alien invasion. Bots running amok. AI becomes sentient. Code word for demons in the machine, this AI, artificial intelligence. Well, where is it coming from? Gotta wonder. Or if you create this entity, it's very easy for a demon to take hold. Bots, aka demons, I call bots demons, take over the internet. Social media guidelines and restrictions become more oppressive. Atomic dog. So atomic dog, this is a robotic dog right here. To me, it is so frightening. If you see this thing walk, it is so scary. So robotics will be much more prevalent. Now, we've had robotics for years, but we're going to see robotics like we've never seen before. But even when it comes to robotics, I feel like the technology community could even do better. Now, they probably have better technology, but they're just showing us the crude stuff right now. Now, robo-dogs may become pets for some people. Stop right there, you criminal scum. Now, there's a reason why this hasn't been fully implemented in the US yet. This might be China. Not sure what country this is, but it's an Asian country. What I noticed is they tend to roll out this high-tech stuff in Asian countries first. And it's because Asian governments are already very controlling and damn near socialistic. Some of them are communistic, China. So it's easier for them to swallow this bitter pill of having some robot cop tracking everybody than the United States. And plus, a lot of United States citizens are gun owners. So they got to roll it out very slowly and carefully in the United States. But in other countries where their governments are even more draconian, basically, they already have implemented this type of technology, the RoboCops. America the Great and the Badass Bald Eagle. So, I used to wonder why they'd be like, why do they call this the greatest nation on earth? And it took me to get older to see why. It's not so much about the money that you can make here, but that is a big part of it, the American dream and all that. But it's really about that Constitution and our rights. The Bill of Rights that's listing, what we are entitled to, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, the right to bear arms. That one alone keeps this U.S. government from going too far. The moment United States citizens give up their guns, it's all over, like how they did in Australia. So expect a further erasure of liberties, but it won't happen drastically like overnight in this country, the United States, because a lot of people are still gun owners. That's why they be having these mass shootings and stuff every now and then, school shootings, all that type of stuff, because they want to take away our guns. I'm not saying that all of these shootings are pre-orchestrated or fabricated, but a lot of them are. A lot of the more high-profile ones. And one of them, Alex Jones, got sued and lost the lawsuit because he was pointing it out that it was a false flag. I'm not even going to mention the name of the school, though, because I'm not trying to get sued. But give me liberty or give me death type shit. You're going to see more people standing up, trying to fight back, trying to preserve their liberty, being radicals, radical extremists. Rage against the machine. Activism will grow in intensity. Aquarius rules activism. And I was just saying, on my Patreon, I was like, yeah, I used to be, an activist back in the day. And I was telling my daughter the other day, I was like, yeah, I might have to put my activist hat back on. So I'm pretty sure I'll be part of the activism with Pluto and Aquarius. Revolutionaries, extremist groups, riots, revolts, rebellions. They're all, they're rioting and revolting in Paris, France right now. I forget what it's about though. My bad. Oh, how cute. Not. So here's another example of a RoboCop. And again, for some reason, I'm pushing forward, but this slideshow keeps going backward. Robotics will be more prevalent, but not so much so for our convenience. It's about control, especially crowd control. So these RoboCops, we're going to start seeing them more and more. If he dies, he dies. Remember the Russians said in Rocky IV? And they were trying to make it out to be like, if you ever saw Rocky IV, they had the Russian guy, Drago, and he was fighting Rocky. And they tried to make it seem like Drago was like some transhuman type of super boxer. But this is a RoboCop in Dubai. So this is showing that this is already being implemented in some countries. And again, they'll implement it first in these countries that are already under tight government control. Here we go right here. Like, is this something you want to see in your city? But you know what they talking about, defund the police, all that. That was Pluto in Capricorn. Now we're moving over to Pluto in Aquarius. And, people want to scream about the cops and police brutality and all this stuff. What do you think this RoboCop's going to do? He going to shoot first and ask questions later. Look at that Aquarian smirk. Robo reps at your service, complete with an Aquarian smirk. So I believe this is in China in a hotel. And again, you can see all of this if you travel to some countries in the East, some of these Asian countries like Singapore, Malaysia. They already have implemented these robots. They don't have them in the United States because this robot would get his ass kicked. You know how violent Americans are, or raped. Perfect for introverts, but at what cost? Because I was thinking, I was like, sometimes I don't really, I'm not into, having human contact all the time. I was like, maybe it wouldn't be so bad if a robot was bringing my breakfast to me at a hotel. But actually, nah, I don't want none of that. I'd rather deal with an actual person. And that way I can tip them and stuff. And yeah, but we're going to have less and less human contact with each other with that Pluto and Aquarius. May I help you, germ carrier? So this robot was in place during the whole ether scandemic. And basically, it was in a hotel room greeting visitors so that people didn't have to come in contact with germ carriers. So COVIDian robots in Japan. Rock droids. Now, we already know that there's like these robotic sex dolls and stuff, but this is going to become more promoted because they don't want people procreating anymore. They're trying to reduce the population. So sex with robots will become more prevalent and encouraged to support depopulation agenda. Expect for some new STDs to be invented. And again, that can be to discourage people from having sex with each other, especially heterosexual sex. So heterosexuality could be strongly discouraged or devalued, or people might start becoming, people might ridicule people who are straight. Asexuality will also become more prevalent because, we're being bombarded with sexual images, and that can turn people totally left, or maybe I should say totally right, where they don't even want to have sex at all anymore, and they consider themselves to be asexual. You have a lot of non-binary people now, but that whole asexuality is probably going to become even more prevalent because people are going to become jaded by all these overt sexual images and all of this focus on sex. Sexual perversions, though, will become more prolific and even encouraged. And you know where I'm going with this, that dreaded P word, not perversions, but the other P word. It rhymes with Lido. Soon they're going to, make that more acceptable, or make it more, make it acceptable, because right now it's not acceptable, but they're going to try to make it seem like these people can't help themselves. Now, raise your hand if you are perverted and proud. Look at them. So Aquarius rules nudity, nakedness. So you might start seeing more and more cities saying, okay, women can walk around topless, or you can walk around in certain areas butt-ass naked, all that stuff. More scenes of public nudity, and this could be just random scenes, people just running out in the street butt-ass naked. A lot of it's already starting with the homeless population in cities, and it will become more acceptable and encouraged. Show and tell. Implantable microchips will become more common and eventually mandatory in some places, and eventually could become mandatory worldwide. They may start with convicts, which would explain why they are allowing crime to be out of control right now. Now, remember, a lot of people drank the Kool-Aid when it came to microchipping their pets. Every pet I've had, I have not agreed to getting them microchip because I don't believe in that type of thing, putting some electronic device inside of a living creature, unless it's like a pacemaker for somebody that's had a heart attack or whatever. But yeah, I'm not down with that. I never wanted my pets to have anything like that inside them. And they basically preyed upon people's fears and was like, well, if your pet gets lost, we could track them by, scanning the chip and all. I'm just like, that's not cool. But they started with animals because eventually they were going to move on to us humans. And there's already people who have microchips in them. It's just not enough people yet. And trust and believe, these microchips are going to be tied to your bank account, your car, your kids, all type of stuff. And maybe if they want to end your life, they could just put in some code, and next thing you know, you're self-destructing via that chip. I'll be your freakazoid. So, of course, transhumanism is going to become more prominent, and, just talks about transhumanism, them promoting it. And it makes me think of Elon Musk's neural lace technology, where he's going to be able to access certain centers in your brain, and where you could do things just by thinking about it, and have like the computer do things just by you thinking about it. Again, they don't want you to have control over your own self anymore. Peekaboo. The metaverse takes over. Reality and virtual world may be nearly indiscernible. Digital display. Transitioning fully into the digital age, including money, hence the current banking collapse and recession. And basically, I believe they want to get everybody on this blockchain. And think about it, chain, block. Those two words together do not sound positive to me. Sound like slavery and forced labor. Social credit system in full effect. They already are talking about a credit card. This was in the UK, I think, where basically you're not going to have a spending limit. You're going to have a carbon limit. So once you get past your carbon usage, they'll cut your spending off. Like, you won't be able to use your card. And again, this is supposed to be to combat climate change. So expect them to fully roll out the carbon tax. They've been talking about this for years, and also carbon credits, where if you're using too much or if your carbon footprint is too big, they'll cut off access to maybe your car or maybe your internet usage, what have you. Crypto will no longer be cryptic. Cryptic meaning hidden. So the allure of cryptocurrency in the beginning was that it was anonymous. Like you could make these transactions and remain anonymous. And I always scratch my head like that's bullshit, because everything on the internet can be tracked. And everybody who trades crypto does have like a blockchain number or code or whatever. But I'm just like, I never bought the whole crypto like that. It's actually cryptic, but it won't be cryptic anymore once everybody gets on this blockchain. And you might be able to access a database and be able to pull up anybody and everybody's transactions. I see. This is where it could really get dark. Death via metaverse may be possible. And it could be a psychosomatic situation. Digitized death via penetration of brainwaves, again, makes me think of Elon Musk's Neuralink technology. Digital viruses infecting people. It will be even easier to induce mass psychosis via the metaverse. Sudden death, the kill shot. Like it says here, tragedy, goalkeeper 25 dies after he collapsed on pitch moments after saving penalty. There's been plenty of stories of athletes who are supposed to be in the best of health just dropping dead on the playing field. So expect to hear more cases of sudden death and also mass deaths, toxic substances, mucks in veins, arteries. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look up this documentary called Died Suddenly, and it explains it all. Coroners, medical examiners, and morticians coming forward with the truth. That's in that documentary. Check it out. Demon time. So when I was researching the algorithm, because that word algorithm to me is sinister. Demon network. And I put in algorithm and demons, and this is some of the stuff that came up. Demon network, data science, and AI for dementia, which is so interesting. Now, algorithm reigns supreme when Pluto is in Aquarius. And that word algorithm makes me think of the fixed star Algol, which is also known as the demon star. And what's interesting is you got a lot of scientists and techies that refer to certain algorithms as the demon algorithm. So algorithm is claimed to be sentient. That has already been stated by more than a few people in the tech world. AI, artificial intelligence, becomes sentient. Code word for demons in the machine. I already said that. So this is what I'm talking about right here. Like these two guys, they came up with the demon algorithm, or they're using it, or what have you. I wasn't able to do too much extensive research on this, but I just found this to be very interesting. So it says, navigating beyond the buzz, putting algorithms into action, demon network, data science, and AI for dementia. Now, it's interesting that they're focusing on dementia patients, because dementia means that you don't have full use of your mind anymore. And you know what I always say, when you're not at the driver's seat in terms of your mind power, it's very easy for demons to take over. And I believe that's their purpose. Look how evil this one guy on the right looks like. He kind of looks like that Klaus Schwab. So looks like they were going to put on, actually, this is recently, Tuesday, 28 February 2023, navigating beyond the buzz, putting algorithms in action. So here's one of the tables, or what do you call this? Flow charts, demon processing. So they're making it's no secret in this world that they're very much into demons. Here we have again demons, Therion's demons, the selection of the demon's position, the formula of giving the force of a demon, force F of a demon. So again, different demons. Why are they using the word demon? That's what I want to know. I'll be doing more research into this, but this is just a cursory view of this. Here we go again. Like they're showing the brain scans, FEM demons. So again, it's almost like they're saying, yes, we are inserting demons into people's brains. And then look the way hammer, FEM demons flirt. I'm just like, wow. So again, that's why I called this video demonetization, because I was thinking demonetization, that's what they use when, YouTube doesn't like what you say or your video is too risque, and then the next thing you know, they demonetize you. And of course, demonetize meaning taking money away, but they could have used a different term. So I just think it's funny with the root word being demon, that even in terms of demonetization, like this demon theme is very prevalent. It's pervasive now. It says a computational study of 3 demon algorithm variants for solving the TSP. So basically, that concludes my brief synopsis of Pluto and Aquarius. Again, it doesn't look very positive. It doesn't look very hopeful for us, but I say where we can have hope is some of us, we could become more liberated. We could become more enlightened. And for those that aren't, sad to say, but you run the risk of being swallowed up by the matrix, hence the metaverse and all that type of stuff. But yeah, so hopefully I can go live soon, if not tomorrow, because my computer is working a little better. So hopefully I can go live, because I'll be talking about Pluto through the houses so that everybody can get a little taste of what they can expect with Pluto moving through their houses. So stay tuned for that. If you would like a reading, you could go to my website, Rahbinah.com. The link is in the description section. And yeah, stay tuned for some more videos, live stream, all that good stuff. Peace and stay safe.